Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to another premiere draft of Pioneer Masters. Without further ado, let's get into the pack one pick one. We've got the sweet Tassiger the Golden Fang rare here. So it's a 6 mana 4/5 with Delve. So if you've got enough cards in grave, you could cast this for like 1 mana sometimes, which is pretty crazy. And the activated ability is absolutely brutal in draft. You can spend 4 mana, mill 2 cards, and then return a non-land card of an opponent's choice from your graveyard to your hand. So it's just an activated ability to keep drawing cards out of your graveyard back to your hand, especially if you have a lot of delve in your deck. You can kind of choose what you want to pick up because you can delve away the bad stuff. So your opponent has to give you the goodies. Pretty nasty card, pretty sweet stuff, just like a better version of the common Gurmag Angler here. So spicy, spicy card and a fun way to start the draft. For pick 2, there's the Gurmag Angler, another Delve card. If you have a ton of Self-Mill, you can play a bunch of Delve in the same deck, but generally they're a little bit, they're like fighting over the same resource, so you don't want to run tons of Delve cards in the same deck, because if you have 2 Delve cards in your hand, and you only have 4 or 5 cards in grave, you're only going to get the huge discount on one of them. The other is going to have like a really high mana value, so they're actually a bit of a nombo outside of like trying to exile the bad stuff out of your grave for Tassiger's activated ability, so that is worth mentioning. Gurmag Angler looks kind of like the perfect follow-up, but it's not necessarily. I still think this pack is weak enough that might be the pick. Gust of Wind's pretty great in a deck with a lot of flyers, but blue-black I don't think has a ton. And I'm just saying that because Tassiger has green and blue as the hybrid manas you need for its activated ability, so you'd like to be in green or blue. I'm not super high on these green cards. Nemesis Immortals is pretty fun. Green Plaque can be a pretty dedicated self-mill deck where you fill that graveyard really quickly to try to cast these for really cheap, monstrosity them for really cheap. It could be a cool spot to be in. I'm a big fan of Experiment 1. I've played this one time in this format before, and it was in a 5-color Gates deck, and even in a slow, grindy 5-color Gates deck, managed to get this thing to be like a 4/4/5/5 sometimes, which is great. But if you just curve out with it aggressively, that's when you're super happy. Makes your blowout curves even more insane. And yeah, pick 4 is a really good spot for green-black self-mill, because now the Seed Guardian, just yet another card that gets even better the bigger our graveyard is. So we've got a really, really nice path to take for this draft. I mean, we're definitely in green. We might get pushed off black here even. Just have a bunch of good green self-mill cards. I like the Cura's Follower as some mana ram, Rest as some removal, but Seed Guardian is very strong, and it's on color with all this green stuff. Pick 5. All right, Dregmangler's good for green-black. Scavenge does not have reminder text for some reason, so if you don't know what Scavenge is, you can spend that mana cost from your graveyard to exile that card from your graveyard, and then put that many counters on something. So this is a 3/3, so I can spend the 5 mana to exile it from my grave to put 3+1/+1 counters on something. So it's a nice card to have in a self-mill deck, because if you randomly mill it, you'll get some value there. And it's also fine to just plop it out, get some haste damage in, trade it off later, get those counters. Yeah, I don't mind that. I have actually not noticed a whole ton of efficient auras to slap onto your hexproofers like Gladecover Scout. There are a lot of bestow creatures that cost a ton of mana to do it, but suiting up a hexproofing creature is still definitely a way to win a game. So I think Gladecover Scout might be okay, but it's definitely a lot weaker than I initially thought. There's just not a super reasonable amount of cheap auras. Again, there's like 6 mana bestows and stuff like that. Okay, I'm slightly sad right now, because I'm almost 100% confident with this collection of cards being drafted. This is the clearest signal ever that we go Golgari Self-Mill and never look back off of this Nyx Weaver. So that is what I'm going to do. I think it's what you should do if you're trying to win. But Lord Almighty, do I love Gatebreaker Ram. I see a pick 6 Gatebreaker Ram, and every part of my body wants to scoop that up and then take every gate we see for the rest of the draft. Take all the gates ablazes. But this is just the perfect seat for Golgari Self-Mill, and we get rewarded immediately. Feels a little better. I was going to say feels good, but honestly, I still had to pass a Gatebreaker Ram, so I'm still hurting within. but it feels okay. We just get past multiple great Golgari uncommons in a row. This is going to be a very simple draft. There's the Undead Butler to self-mill, fill that graveyard for all our goodies. We actually might have enough self-mill by the end of this draft between Undead Butler and then cards like Nyx Weaver's milling us every single turn that we might want to run more than 40 cards. It's very rare, but if you have too much self-mill in your deck, it can be a thing. With this collection of 3-drops, I highly doubt I'm doing anything other than green-black. I don't think I need to do any Pilgrim's Eye splashing, so I'll grab a Glade cover, although it's pretty likely to get cut. I think Pilgrim's Eye is almost a guaranteed cut, though. Highly, highly doubt we attempt to do any splashes with this deck. So I already have literally the perfect dream team of synergy uncommons. And we've taken exclusively creatures so far. So I really need to focus up on removal next pack. We have to take removal over almost anything, because again, we already have just really great creatures. Whatever happens from here, we need to get the removal spells to stop our opponents from doing anything super explosive. Commune with Gods is not horrible in this archetype. It mills everything you don't draw. All right. Pack 2, pick 1. Any removal? Wow. 1 Glade Cover Scout, 1 Read the Bones. That's just how it is, isn't it? A complete miss of a pack. All right, let's read the bones, I guess. Because that Glade Cover Scout is definitely going to wheel based on how this pack went, and I don't even think we won it at that point. So Evolve, if you've never seen that mechanic before, I forgot to mention it. Every time you play a bigger creature, so a creature with more power or more toughness, then you get a counter on this. So if I have this on board, then I play Sanitarium Skeleton or Undead Butler, those have more than 1 toughness, so the Experiment 1 gets a +1/+1 counter. Then ideally, turn 3, I play a 3 toughness or a 3 power card, like any of my 3-drops, and then this becomes a 3/3. Then on turn 4, I play a 4 toughness card. This becomes a 4/4. If you curve out, this card is really big for only 1 mana, and then it can even regenerate itself later. Ooh, pack 2, pick 2, Polukranos. 4 mana, 5/5. If we get the mana for Monstrosity, we make this even bigger, and then it fights a bunch of stuff. Well, it deals X divided as we choose amongst any number of target creatures. So we need a lot of mana for the Monstrosity, but it's still a 4 mana 5/5. It's a really iconic, really fun card. Not me taking it over a removal spell when I said I need to take removal over anything. I'll take black removal over anything. I don't want to take a fight spell over anything, though. I'm taking Polukranos. No black removal, no green removal. Immediately punished, but Voyaging Satyr's a nice ramp card that'll help us maybe put some amount of mana towards the Monstrosity. Second Tasigur. I don't even know how much Stab Wound classifies as removal, really. -2, -2. It probably classifies enough that I have to take it here. With literal no interaction. This is such a weird deck, because our creatures are just incredible. They're like perfect. And then there's just like no spells whatsoever. Incredible creatures, no spells, the deck. Whatever. I made one super correct, super diligent pick earlier, taking a Nyx Weaver over Gatebreaker Ram. I have earned Tasigur over Stab Wound. Just splashing a Selesnya Charm. It's like an exile creatures with power 5 or greater, maybe. At this point. Am I that desperate? Yeah, I just don't think Screecher matters that much. Maybe we're that desperate. We splash the removal, take this, and try to get the Evolving Wilds type cards for it. Could also have just taken that Evolving Wilds for a chance at splashing in some other removal spell. Or Return Centaur is great for this deck. Gatekeepers doesn't really count as removal because we have to draft a ton of gates to go with it. which is not that likely. We're like halfway through the draft and we're a 2-color deck, maybe splashing white. So I'll take the Centaur. There's also a zombie to go with Cruel Revival. That's huge. Got 4 zombies now. The Mangler. Butler doesn't count because it exiles itself, but Mangler, we don't have to scavenge it, so we can pick it up with Cruel Revival. Okay, pick 8. Devour Flesh is real bad removal, but it is still removal. Oof! They made Master of Waves a rare instead of a mythic. Never noticed that. This card's gonna be gross in a heavy blue deck. It gives you a bunch of elementals. They're 1/0s, but they all get +1/+1. So if you blow up the Master of Waves, you blow up all the elementals. But if you don't immediately have removal for it, your opponent has like 3 or 4 Devotion of Blue. That is a huge board for just the 4 mana. Card is scary. We wheel the Savage Punch anyway. Feels good. Wheel it anyway. Next pack is the Stab Wound pack. Do I also wheel a Stab Wound? No. Alright. We did genuinely take a Tasigur over a Stab Wound. I doubt I'm playing 4 Sanitarium Skeleton, but it would be funny, so I will get the option. Alright, one final pack. And we've already got a full deck, we just need to make it better. How do we make it better? With removal spells. This removal sucks. Devour Flesh, or a second Selesnya Charm. Probably better just play a few Devour Fleshes than have to devote a bunch of card slots towards splashing the Selesnya Charm, even though Devour Flesh is quite bad. Alright. We're not opening very well, but we're getting past just perfect stuff, so we'll probably still see something pretty exciting this pack at some point. Like, we got past this Pelucranos, we got past the second Tasigur, got past both the Weavers. Yeah, we get past the Sidisi now. Although, is there good removal in this pack? I would absolutely take good removal over Sidisi, but there's not. There's no removal. So we can take Sidisi here. 5 mana, 4/6 Death Touch, but the idea is that you sack a creature when you play her, and then you get to search your library for whatever card you need, put it into your hand. So really good with the Skeletons and the Butler here. Ooh. The only on-card removal is Savage Punch. This is certainly worth splashing, unlike the Selesnya Charms. I think this we will actually go for it. This is a mind control where you steal your opponent's best creature or planeswalker on a gigantic dragon body. Super, super strong card. They can save their creature by blowing up your giant dragon. So there's a very obvious way your opponent should play around this, which is just blow it up as soon as they have removal, and they're absolutely going to do that. But they won't always have removal, and if they don't, it's going to kill them real quick. So the card is just so good. Okay, there's no good fixing here. Darksteel Ingot is okay, but I prefer Guildgates and Terramorphic Expanse kind of cards that just take up a land slot, so I will take the removal spell of Ultimate Price here, which I think is actually pretty good. That green card draw spell, I don't think that's a particularly good card. It's just really inconsistent, where it only helps you when you're already in a decent position and have multiple creatures on board. Okay, here's Pilgrim's Eye. No removal, so we can take a Pilgrim's Eye. Although I am taking it over Night Howler. That's genuinely pretty sad. Genuinely pretty sad. But I think worth it for Silumgar. The Pilgrim's Eye also plays really well with Sidisi, with the Exploit ability. Okay. Another Returned Centaur. Feels pretty big. The Leaf Crown Dryad's flexibility on the mana curve is also great. I think I'm at the point now it's actually reasonable to pass up on another Savage Punch. We have 3 pretty decent removal spells and 2 bad ones. I think I'm going to go Leaf Crown Dryad. I like having a 2 or 4 drop on this curve here. Okay. This pack's pretty bad again. Let's just play like 2 Sanitarium Skeletons, I think. None of these. Just gonna have a sad little Halo Scarab in here just for another Slumgar blue source. So I can go Island, Pilgrim's Eye, Halo Scarab. That's about it. I'm not playing any of this. Take a rescue from the underworld, I guess. I'll have a pretty big graveyard. Okay, double Halo Scarab. This is how we cast Dragonlord Slumgar. Gotta do what you gotta do. Card is ridiculous. I don't think I gotta play the Devour Fleshes, though. Oh, we wield a Centaur. Great. Super happy with that. Ooh, there were 2 Centaurs to wheel? Okay. I'm gonna mill out. I'm gonna lose games to decking myself, and it's gonna be so fun while we do it. 6 cuts. Well, now that I got double Scarab, I've got 5 2-drops without the Leaf Crown Dryad, and a bunch of 4-drops without the Leaf Crown Dryad. It's a little funny. We'll go full synergy for this deck. I mean, double Tasker, I don't think I need the double Angler anymore. I've got the Nemesis for the super cheap card, too. It doesn't require exiling my graveyard. I have to cut 3 more cards. Maybe I don't get to play both Return Centaurs. Zombie count is still 6. Sidisi's a zombie. It's pretty nasty. Yeah, I could probably cut 1 Centaur. 2 more cuts. Sanitarium skeletons are just kind of cute when we mill them. Other than that, they're decent when we sack them to Sidisi. I don't think they're 100% necessary to this deck. Yeah, they feel like reasonable cuts as well. Mana base is a bit awkward, but what are you going to do? Slumgar's insane. Let's go for the 1 island, I think, though. 13, 11, 1. Even split, 1 island. Yeah. Spicy green-black self-mill deck. Again, with double Nyxweaver, double Centaur. Could even maybe play like a 45-card version of this deck just so we mill ourselves less often. But we'll see. Let's get into the gameplay. I don't think I want to like shove a bunch of slightly more filler cards into this deck unless I actually find out that I have milled myself in one of these games. But it's possible because we have 2 Nyxweavers. Tassiger also mills us over and over and over again. The Centaurs all mill 4. It is possible this deck could use just being like a 50-card deck. Super rare that that's the case, but when you're this self-milly, it might be a thing. To where we get to play another Centaur and some Anglers and then some more lands. I'm just going to run it like this for now. But we'll see if we mill ourselves, if we end up doing it, or getting really close. I'll put in that little chunk, get to like 46 cards or something. Have a little bit of breathing room for longer games. But for now, looks like a really spicy Golgari self-mill deck with the disgusting Dragonlord Slumgar off the splash. Looks like a very powerful deck. It's just lacking a little bit on good removal. Just have the 3 removal spells in here. But outside of that, looks like a great synergistic deck. I'm excited to see how it does as we head into the gameplay. All right, here we are for game 1. It's a pretty funny hand. It's just all 3 drops. The double Weaver to really mill ourselves too. Could immediately get punished for not playing just a chunk of filler in here. I mean, it's not even filler. Return Centaurs and Gurmag Anglers are good cards for this deck. But we'll see. Okay, rewarded for the Slumgar Splash, because the mana's already perfect. Let's see what happens here. Ooh, Nantuko Husk with Sanitarium Skeleton and Imperious Oligarch is pretty terrifying, if I'm being honest here. Definitely got a Cruel Revival that on turn 5. Got 5 manas locked in. I'm going to play Pilgrim's Eye to guarantee the 6th land. That way, next turn I can just Cruel Revival. And then turn 6 I can play the Dragon Lord. Alright, there's the takedown. Sure, let's get rid of one of your Husk Sacks. Oh, you know what? Nantuko Husk is kind of absurd against Dragon Lord, because it can sacrifice itself even. So I have to no zombie Cruel Revival the Nantuko Husk so that I can Slumgar something next turn. Suppose we'll wait to see if they play anything better. I highly doubt they would pre-combat in the first place, but we'll see. Oh, it's a zombie too? Oh wow, I just got so bad by that. Oof, wow, no, Nantuko Husk is literally perfect. I can't Slumgar anything, and I can't Cruel Revival the Husk. That's disgusting. Okay. Well, obviously should have just played the Nyx Weaver then, but still play a lot of blockers this turn. Yeah, I can't Dragon Lord anything. Gotta figure something else out here. And by figure something else out, I mean draw into something else. They could sack both of those to make that a 6/6. Jesus. And the skeleton's basically a free sack to make it a 4/4 without losing anything. They just put the skeleton back in hand later. See what tricks they have here. Oh. Okay, that's not quite as good as I thought. That just makes it a trade. And we still bounce there. Okay, yeah, that's actually fine. Scry 2. That is not a way to deal with Husk. That is not a way to deal with Husk. But it is fun. It is a zombie for our Cruel Revival. Whee! No, I milled the Savage Punch. So now I just have Ultimate Price left in the deck to deal with the Nantuko Husk. I mean, I guess I can Dragon Lord it. They just sack it in response, and then I just have a 3/5. Flying Death Touch. I still get a 2-for-1 in that outcome. I still kill their Husk and have a big dragon. Compulsory Rest the returned Centaur. Well, that is the zombie in my graveyard. Or my thingamadude. Alright, Dragon Lord Slumgar is just gonna kill a Husk at this point. Cruel Revival is so bad. Okay, Nemesis is pretty good. Alright, we kill a Husk, or if they have a removal spell in hand, then they'll just let me steal it and then kill Dragon Lord next turn. Alright, good deal is a good deal. Kill a Husk, and I have a dragon on board. For the future. I just realized how cheap this Nemesis is. That is insane. I guess I should have figured with half my deck in grave. That means our Tassigars are completely filthy too. 4/4, 6/6. Yeah, that's real bad. It is really interesting and really cool to see the Nentuko Husk sack deck being actually best in black-white, where you have these oligarchs for afterlife triggers. Maybe a little bit of other token production. It's pretty cool. Because we're just so used to it being Rakdos every time. Hello there. You are certainly a friend. Can't imagine you are better than getting the Nemesis out, though. I could play that, and then I can Monstrosity 1. That's not enough. I guess I can Monstrosity more later, but if I Nemesis, I'm holding up Cruel Revival, but all their creatures are zombies. Yeah, I guess I Pelucranos, actually. Could still Monstrosity 1 to make this a 6/6, just to be able to trade. That actually seems probably worth it. Oh no, another Afterlife card? Never mind. Husk is like a 10/10 now if they want it to be. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, because that as well. So we have to chomp every turn. Big yikes. I guess I probably have to trade Dragon Lord into it because of the Death Touch. Yeah, I can't attack anymore. We need the Death Touching blocker. I'll hold up the Pelucranos ability. I can do it for 2 now. Can also Cruel Revival the Syndicate Messenger, which could be relevant if they attack with the Husk and the Messenger in order to block both of them. Oh, I need to kill this Undead Butler, but if I kill it, they already have another Husk engrave. I was going to say I need to kill the Butler before I kill the Husk, but they already have another Husk to pick up. This is nasty. Okay, pick up their other Husk, probably. This is not a zombie dragon, sadly. Oh, pick up the Death Touch Eidolon? They're gonna put Death Touch on Syndicate Messenger, I guess? If they can't kill Dragonlord Salumgar, then this could actually end up being really good for me. Because if I can just trade into the Husk, and then they can't pick any more up... Yeah, this could actually be incredible for me. You know, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I can't even double block still. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. The oops from opponent? Oh yeah, we just have lethal on the crackback. I didn't even realize. We didn't even need to remove. That's true. If they sack their blocker. I mean, they could still survive if they sack the messenger. But yeah, that's rough for them. Because now they have to sack the messenger so that they have blockers up. They have the 1/1 token and the 1/1 Eidolon. But then Pelucranos can kill both of those. Wow. Yeah, no, Pelucranos is actually nutty here. Really just gets them on the counterattack because we can Pelucranos Monstrosity, put 2 counters on this, deal 1 damage to the 2 1/1s. We can do that with this open mana, then we untap and we make this a 10/10 and we just hit for like 17. Wow. Okay. All right. My deck is better than I thought it was. Pelucranos is stronger than I thought it was. I was still terrified there, and then I was like, well, we can just blow up the Syndicate Messenger and then make things good from there, but the immediate lethal was unexpected. So unexpected, I didn't even know why my opponent conceded. I was like, wait, what? I have lethal? Okay, that's a forced mulligan. This is not great, but it's not a mulligan. I have got to hit me a land. But even if I don't hit a land, if Halo Scarab ends up in grave, this gives me the treasure token for Nyx Weaver. Nyx Weaver gives me the cards in grave for Tasigur. So even if I don't hit a land, if I get the treasure out of Scarab, I can cast the whole hand over time. They all kind of flow into each other pretty well. Mono red double Akum Warrior so far, and we did miss the land, but also our Halo Scarab isn't dead, so I can't do anything. This was definitely a keep. There's no way we mold this to 5. Double Scytheclaw Raptor. Alright, let's go. That's some big beef, some dinos all over. Please don't kill this. Oh, they have Wild Slash up? That's so brutal. 2-lander, Mistland, Wild Slash the Voyaging Satyr. Yep, that's pretty devastating. At least we got a lot of damage in here. It won't be the most embarrassing loss if we don't hit lands from here. Still got them to 12. Don't mention that it was their own Scytheclaw Raptor that helped us a lot. Alright. Planeswalker bonus sheet strikes again. Why does it have to show up when I'm mana screwed too? And it's like, no, here you go. It's perfectly fair and balanced Magic now. If I give you the lands now, you have no right to complain. Yeah, we're so dead. I'm just gonna 2/2 every turn. Ooh, uh-oh. Or a bunch of mana. What kind of monstrosity are you casting right now? Is this double removal? You're looking at the whole board. Might be double removal. But I guess only one removal spell really matters. The Nyx Weaver is much more important than the Halo Scarab, but the Scarab still trades into the 2/2 at least. Soaks up 2 damage a turn for the rest of this game. Because again, if I don't take this trade, then that's 2, 2, 2 every turn that stays around. So this is like gaining 6 or something if this Trade works for me. All right. Four cards in grave. I can Tassiger, but with no backup. Rather Nemesis if I have no backup. There's an Asp. They get one more loyalty counter on the Xenagos, and they get to play the top 7 cards of their deck for free. All the creatures. Well, here comes a combat trick, I guess. I really have no other line at 12 life. It's like a post-combat burn spell. Sure. Yeah, that'll do it. Here we are now for game number 3. We are 1-1. And I really don't want to mulligan again after last game. But this could be the same as last game if I keep, right? Like if I don't hit one land, so that I can cast Pilgrim's Eye, I'm just dead. But if I can draw a single land, then I cast Pilgrim's Eye. Pilgrim's Eye gives me the Black Source. Black Source gives me Nyx Weaver and Catacomb Sifter, and that just guarantees Nemesis Immortals. Never will learn my lesson. Not to say that this is an incorrect keep, I'm just saying. I am repeating the same decision I made last time because I am pretty sure that the last decision was correct in terms of just stats and variance and how likely you are to draw lands. We just hit the lower end of the spectrum where we didn't draw the lands. I think I want a Catacomb Sifter here and have the 1/1 token be able to trade into the Baleful Eidolon. Whenever that or another human creature you control dies, get a tap 2/2 zombie. It's pretty solid. Okay. Can Pilgrim's Eye and Satyr if I sack my Scion? Which is rough when they've got the Eidolon down, but it is probably worth it to be mana efficient when I'm stuck on mana like this. It is awkward I have to scry before I play the Pilgrim's Eye in order to get a blue source here. Oh wait, no, I don't. I don't have to. Wait, yes, I do. Yeah, that's the only way that I have an untapped green for when I play Satyr. Yeah. So that was going to be awkward if we wanted to do both. We missed out on the scry. There's Dreadbore. Oh, this doesn't trigger on itself? Only whenever another creature you control dies. Alright. Surprising. Down to 18. Got a cheap Nemesis. And a Nyx Weaver. Solid board is solid. There's an Antuco Husk. The Necromancer is 2 sacks for the Husk if they want them. Ooh. Wow, that's such a good collection of cards. Let's just get Slumgar, and I can Nyx Weaver back the other one. Let's just have their life total, though. That is just spicy. Boom! I'm having fun. This is big Timmy magic right now. Gigantic threats. They have the Nantuko Husk against the Dragon Lord again. But Dragon Lord is still going to enter the battlefield, force them to sack their good card. So we Dragon Lord targeting Dreadhound, force them to sack Dreadhound here. Would be a pretty bold attack. Necromancer makes a tapped zombie, right? I think I actually block if they send this in, because then I block, force them to sack Necromancer, they get a tapped zombie. Yeah, and then I Slumguard the Dreadhound, they have no blockers and they die. So yeah, they can't do that attack. Oh, Dreadhound is so bad for me. As a self-mill deck, we 100% have to Slumguard that Dreadhound into their grave right now. Yeah, put that in the trash can, thank you. Okay, they can make Husk an 8/8, which is still not enough for Nemesis. Cool, Chump, get a Zombo. Ooh, dash the Heel Cutter. I'm gonna choose Slumgar here. I am fine to trade Slumgar into the Husk if they choose the Nyx Weaver. Interesting. Their spell on hand is good enough to kill a Slumgar? Sure. Now I get to play a Slumgar again. Not just yet, but very soon, and it's going to be super rude. CDC 2 mana up. I think I have milled myself enough that I'm actually centauring my opponent. Just so that I'm not milling myself. That's the only reason. I guess I'm about to exile the Nyx Weaver anyway. But still. Slumgar's back. Priest of the Bloodrite. Comes with a 5/5 flyer. It's a pretty good blocker. Let's get rid of their flying blocker, I guess. Eventually, Nemesis Immortals will break through. It's just taking some time. All their creatures are coming with like 2 bodies. Alright, there's the concession from our opponent. That is like 2-1. Pretty long game there, so I've lost a little bit of track. This is one of the least keepable hands I've seen today. 2 identical legends and no swamps to even cast them in the first place. That is a Forest Mole. It's another 2-lander again. Oh, these have been sketchy, but what can you do? We keep this. I think just keep all the 3 drops. Oh, hello, Jump Scare Dragon. Ditch the 4-drop, immediately draw the 6 mana and blue card. We have ambitions now. Oh my god. Playing against green-white. Oh, they're just guild gates. So they're gonna be like all the colors. Whoa, these draws. These draws could be insane, but we gotta hit the right mana. We did immediately hit an island, so, you know, if our luck continues, we're in a pretty sick position. We're already putting a lot of pressure on our opponent, forcing some quick blockers or removal from them. Okay. Alright, do not hit the land, but keep that pressure on quite well. Should attack for 6 here. Experiment 1 is wild. There's a gust of wind to bounce it, sure. I could have regenerated it, just because it's funny. It wouldn't actually do anything, but I'm going to lose the counters anyway. Oh, they just don't even care. The curve is just too quick. Whatever they drew into sucks. Maybe it's just a bunch of gates or something. And we are 3-1, heading into game number 5. Alright, here we are for the next game of Magic that I've immediately forgotten which game it is. We have Experiment 1, no matter what, and then the Pilgrim's Eye gets us the black source for the rest of the hand. So I am going to keep this one, but it has issues like pretty much every hand we've seen for a little while. Let's commune. Tasker's pretty great when we just filled our graveyard. I don't have the black source for it, but I can Pilgrim's Eye into that. And I'm going to have to Pilgrim's Eye next turn, so I think I can do that pretty freely here. Even if I took Catacomb Sifter, I don't have the black source for that either, so I think this is just the better pick. Alright, we're going to have to ultimate price that. Aw, naturally draw the black source. I should have played the Swamp. I am so loose right now, I'm out of it. I should have went Swamp, pick up another Swamp, and then I'd have double black, so next turn I could Butler plus ultimate price if that's better. Or Tassiger plus ultimate price. Wow, yeah, that's just... I have no idea why I played the island. That was super loose. Bestow the Hornet's Nest, alright. Pretty cute. I mean, the play is going to remain the same. We're just going to ultimate price that. They would need like a +3/+3 fight spell to kill Tassiger with the Hornet Nest and really blow me out here. So I think I'm going to just go for the Tassiger. Delve 2 cards away. Lifelink on the hero of Iroas. 4/4 lifelinker, they have 2 mana up, but they don't attack. Okay, now I can have my double black that I should have had earlier. Probably half the ultimate price. Means I only get to cast an Undead Butler alongside it. If they draw into like any fight spell with the Hornet Nest, that card's just gonna single-handedly kill me. Like they just play a fight spell on my 10/10 Nemesis later. Ooh, Polukranos for our Undead Butler. Possess Scab the Hornet Nest just right back to hands. Yeah, seems good. Ooh. And I can Dragon Lord Slumgar it? I can't just Dragon Lord Slumgar this hero of Iroas, because then they just Hornet Nest and I don't break through that. Guess I could Centaur plus Nemesis if I mill one creature. And I absolutely did. Trading a hero with Experiment 1. Can make it a 5/5. I don't have any creatures in this deck that have more than 5 power or toughness naturally, so it's never going to be bigger than a 5/5, where it'll still just trade into a 4/4 because it can double lock with a 4/4 and a 2/2. So this is the best Experiment 1's going to do. Let's give us a trade here, or get damage in. There's the Hornet Nest. And they've not hit a land in a long time. Dragon Lord the Hornet Nest so we can get a swing in again. Now Experiment 1's a 5/5. Nemesis could be a 10/10 for just like 2 mana, so I should probably wait on that. And Tasker has a good activated ability. I only have 13 cards left, though. I only have 13 cards left. I'm not activating Tasker anytime soon. Yeah, let's actually just attack. Just straight up not activating Tasker. Sure. 2-for-1 trade. Okay, Hexproof Indestructible Lion. Blade Cover Scout, another Hexproofer. They do have to monstrous that to get the Hexproof Indestructible, so it's just the 3/3 for now. Okay. Don't have reach anymore. Take 8. Yep. They're at 2. Here's a Nyx Weaver to pick something up from grave. Literally whatever I need to end the game next turn. Just the nice from opponent. Let's see what this is. Ooh, Chromanticore. Super big fancy hero. That's pretty fun. I do not think it matters. Oh, they just cast it unbestowed anyway. Yeah, I don't think it matters. Pick up Sidisi from grave. You know what? No, let's just keep this all. Another Tassiger drawn to the Savage Punch. It's definitely the kill. Yeah, there's the concession from opponent. I'm just really making sure here. Because there's like life gain on the board. There's 2 life linkers. They have 8 life links, so they're at like 10 essentially. And if I Savage Punch, they gain another 4. But if I Savage Punch, they only gain that one time, right? So I could like Savage Punch here and there. Attack all. They block the 10-10, gain 4. They're at essentially 10 at that point because they gained from Chromanticore, they gained from Hero. Fleece Mane goes there. They take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's pretty much exactsies. But yeah, we can get there off of that removal spell. All right, that is pretty great record here. We are 4-1 now, so we're guaranteed to win more games than we lose no matter what happens from here, but we'll see how far we can take it. Heading into Game 6. Game 6. Nyx Weaver into Seed Guardian into Sidisi. It's a pretty good 3-4-5 curve. We are on the draw, so it's a little slow with no 2-mana play, but the mana is great, so we'll definitely keep it. Uh-oh. Their immediate play is the Cloudfin Raptor, which can pretty quickly become a 2-3 flyer, which is terrifying, but we've got multiple reach blockers that we'll play in a row. All right, pretty bad curve for them to go with their Cloudfin Raptor, so that's a little rough. No evolving going on. Yeah, it's pretty good Devour Flesh for our opponent. Just the one creature on board for it. There's the Gnarlback Rhino. The Cloudfin Raptor has evolved. Speaking of evolving, we would really like an experimental one on board before we play other cards, but it is so much more inefficient to play this and then nothing else for the turn. The punch only gives the +2/+2 if you have a creature with power 4 or greater, so the punch would be pretty bad there. Colony Ambush would be very good there. Yikes. Great stuff from our opponent. Let's pick up a Dragon Lord Salumgar, shall we? We're going to need some insane plays to flip this game around, and that is the most insane play in our deck. Another 4-color deck. There's Possessed Scab, pick something up from grave. Another Colony Ambush with the Rhinos, pretty gross on any smaller creatures. But it's not big enough to fight anything right now, so they got to consider the Devour Flesh for the Sidisi. They do pick up the Devour Flesh, but they don't have the mana for it yet. We are 100% playing Experiment 1 now, so that we can dodge Devour Fleshes a lot better. And now I actually drew a great creature to play alongside that. Experiment 1 plus Pelucranos. They can devour the experiment if they want. Sure, I'll take the 2-for-1 trade. That is what I was hoping for. I prefer that to them just taking the 4 damage. There's their own Seed Guardian. Great card, as we've seen from our own stuff. And this Cloudfin Raptor's a 3/4 flyer now. Getting pretty nasty. So they have Devour Flesh and one other card in their hand. If it isn't an instant speed removal spell to blow up Pelucranos, we should be able to Savage Punch this Cloudfin Raptor and not worry about its nonsense anymore. I can also Pelucranos Monstrosity for 3, but 3 is not quite enough. So let's Savage Punch. You know what, let's play the Centaur first. I think. That way it's even harder for them to stop Pelucranos from fighting. Because we've got 3 creatures on the board. Ooh, Dreadmangler, hello there. If I fight Pelucranos on Cloudfin, it plays around a combat trick for them to buff the Raptor. If I play Centaur onto it, it plays around a removal spell for them to kill my creature, because then they kill my weaker creature instead of Pelucranos. I think it's more likely they'll have some kind of way to buff that Raptor at instant speed than some way to kill Pelucranos. Cool. Okay, if they have the buff thing, they can kill Pelucranos here, but if they don't, they take 7. Or just get their Guardian, their Elemental thing. Be a 3/3. Alright, nice. 7 damage from Pelucranos. Devour Flesh. Goodbye Centaur. Gain a good chunk of life. Got 2 cards. We'll see what they've got here. But they have 1 creature land on the board. They have 1 like 3/4 hexproofer. 3/3 hexproof. Balagad Recovery. Return Devour Flesh. Alright. There goes Experiment 1. Okay. Let's do our thing now. They probably ran out of removal. I mean, they had to recovery a Devour Flesh. Yep, Gnarlback Rhino. It's a little awkward buffing up their own card, but this lets me attack with all 3. Actually, it's lethal on board doing it this way. Gross. Alright. Incredible rares continue to be incredible, and we are now like 5-1 in the money no matter what. Really good record with this deck. I think we will take that. Here we are for game number 7 now. Another mono green hand, but it has the Pilgrim's Eye. I will keep it. It has the Pilgrim's Eye, and it fills the graveyard really quickly to make Tasigur immediately castable the turn after. This is not a good matchup for this hand. Opponent is on Boros, and all of our creatures enter tapped now. Take that Pelucranos for sure. We know we have enough mana for it because we Pilgrim's Eye into land 4. Halo Scarab gives us the Slumgar mana. It's going to be a rough matchup, but we have a lot of high power cards if we can stabilize. Stabilizing is going to be the hard part, though. Yep. Double combat trick, the double striker could just be game already. And we literally couldn't play a blocker fast enough. Yeah, that's probably it. 12 damage. Seems pretty strong, and I can't play any blockers here, so if they just kill my one Pilgrim's Eye, we're already pretty much dead. I guess I'm supposed to Pelucranos, because if I do get to untap with Pelucranos, if I draw any land, I can kill both their 1 toughness cards. But probably don't. Yeah, double Artful Maneuver, I just have to chump Eidolon. If they have any removal, we're just dead to the rebound. Smart play from our opponent. If they top deck removal, we die. Anyway, because this is already 6 damage. And that way, they're not all in on the one thing. So if I block that one thing, they can still kill me elsewhere like that. Yeah. Well played from our opponent, but also the actual dream hand against slower mana. Sometimes they just have the nuts. We are 5-2, heading into game number 8. All right, no green sources with a double green card in hand is rough. But obviously our mana base isn't great with just like 1 Evolving Wilds, but I don't think it's as bad as we've been drawn over the course of today. We got like an 8-8 split on main colors. If you count the wilds, it's like 9-9 or something. I don't know, it is what it is. I'm still going to keep this. We have ultimate price for their early threat. We have the Centaur to fill the grave for a cheap Tasigur. We'll see. Could be a gate stack over there. They've dropped a green-blue Guildgate, the Simic Guildgate, and the Gateway Plaza. They're definitely a gate stack. On the plus side, this is a matchup where we should have a little more time, but our first 2 draws are both pretty bad. They are both more green spells and no more mana. The worst draws in our deck right now are green spells. The best draws in our deck right now are green lands. Black spells, non-green lands, those are all in the in-between, and here's another non-green land. It's another swamp, but at least that allows us to cast our Return Centaur, which allows us to cast Tasigur. Then end up milling a Pilgrim's Eye, which is a little sad. And multiple black spells. At least I didn't mill any green sources. But those black spells would all be solid draws. Bloodfire Enforcers get a 5-2 on the board, unless they have an instant and sorcery in their grave, in which case it has First Strike and Trample. But for now, we can just trade into it, and if they make it so we can't, then I can ultimate price. This is a black and 3. So I have to exile 2. We'll go land. Go. I don't think I have much Graveyard Recursion. It's just the spiders that can bring back something from grave, so we'll mill the Pilgrim's Eye. I think if I hit Graveyard Recursion, it's likely to be quite a bit later in the game, in which case like picking up a Revival to pick up a Butler would be a really good combo. Alright, Windrider Patrol, that is going to be the ultimate price target. Another non-green source. It's getting wild. Here's the Scarab. Gives us 1 green mana at least. Double check the mana base here. Oh, we don't have an Evolving Wilds in this deck. I was wrong. It's literally just an 8-8 split. Yeah, that's not great, but it's not as bad as this on average. We've got 8 forests all still in there. Oof, Guild Summit draw 3, and every guild gate they play for the rest of the game draws them another card. Again, like, luckily we're not under any pressure from our opponent here, but they're also not under any pressure from us, which is a problem. Because it means they get to just set up these huge value plays that the Gates decks can do. Man, our Tasker trade for the Enforcers is so bad, I can't really do any other combats here because I need Centaur on blocks, and I need to not offer the Tasker for Enforcers trade. Nemesis Immortals, sure. I mean, there was a slight risk to this keep, but again, the odds of drawing like this at this point are getting really low. Maybe our opponent will mill themselves out. That's our only hope at this point. They are miles ahead in card advantage from Guild Summit alone. So even if we hit the green source, it's too late to have any notion that we're going to get ahead this game. That's actually comical. Oh, the worst. The worst castable spell I could have drawn because of the legend rule. And we just dirtle around long enough, they get to the point they can just hard cast Dragon Lord Atarka, and that is game. 5-3 it is. That is a quick finisher at least, so we don't have to prolong our suffering much. But that's obviously rough. Could have activated Tassiger, but then they just put something really hard to cast in my hand. Okay. They haven't had to cast a single removal spell all game, so it's insanely unlikely this works out. But theoretically, if their deck has like no interaction, we might be able to just kill them with their own Atarka. I don't think so. Nemesis is going to be a 10-10 here. I can block the other cards, go to 4, and then just hope to chump that for the rest of the game. I only need 2 swings to kill them, so that's like the only plan we have at this point. I mean, I couldn't resist. We're so unlikely to win, we might as well do the funniest thing we can do, which is Dragon Lord Slumgar, the Dragon Lord Atarka, to have double Dragon Lord on this board. Everybody loves double dragon, come on. Well, if it's taking them this long, I don't think they have a way to literally just blow up Slumgar. So at least there's that. I lied. I guess they just didn't like that it has Death Touch. So they're like, no, I gotta lose my Nemesis. But when you get your 8/8 Flying Trample back, that's definitely worth it. Man, I want a rematch so bad, but that's just not a thing on Arena. I feel like this matchup is winnable. These draws are not. Okay, that is well over lethal on board. But I can play one Tassiger. I still die in the sky alone, so we're just gonna move on. Alright, 5-3 is the final record for this deck. I think it was a pretty solid one, a pretty fun one. Biggest flaw that I saw with it is that the removal is pretty mediocre. Obviously, having a little bit more removal would be helpful, but I do think that those sack removal spells, the Devour Fleshes, are weak enough to just play more synergistic cards for the deck over these. It is possible the Halo Scarabs really didn't matter much, that maybe double Devour Flesh over the double Halo Scarab could have been a better build. That is about all I really see for going for a different build here. The self-mill stuff did not end up being too self-milly that I feel like I needed to put more cards in here, so staying to the streamlined 40-card deck meant that we drew our incredibly powerful Dragonlord Salumgar or Sidisi into Dragonlord more consistently, more often, because there's just less cards to dig through to get to that Dragonlord or Pelucranos or any of that. So really fun deck, really happy with how I drafted. I think the deck went pretty great. The only issues were the mana base, and that is part of the flaw of the deck as well. So the mana base and the removal are the weakest aspects of the deck. But we did get punished really hard by the mana base today, so I think there was a little bit of variance in that as well. like that last game, that last keep there, being over halfway through the deck without even seeing a single forest still was pretty rough. So, yeah, solid deck here. Did not quite work out for us in the gameplay, but I think the deck is still pretty good. It had a few flaws, but that is what keeps it at around that 5-3 range here. I think this deck is explosive enough and powerful enough this could easily pull out a 7-win run every now and then, but a little bit of the lower end of the spectrum on variance today pulls it down to the 5-3 run. Still a great spot to be, still going to be up in value today. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more new recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.